Hello.
Hi.
So Mouse PI for Hire is already involved in drama. We got our favorite critics talking nonsense about the game, and then we have people calling the game Vogue. Yeah, people will say it's Vogue, but the only thing being oppressed here is common sense. And on the other side, we have IGN complaining that a boomer shooter is too boomer shootery, saying a real detective would never do that much killing. My brother in Christ, you were playing as a cartoon mouse in a video game where every other line is a reference to cheese. And apparently he was not happy about all of the cheesy lines and all of the references made in a game.
What bothers me, however, is how overly referential so much of it is. The world is full of mice, so everything is about cheese.
No fun police over there. Well, let's not shift our attention from the main part of the game, police brutality. Okay, I'll stop. Because if I continue with this narrative, someone like Hassan might come after me. And that wouldn't be shocking. Anyway, in Mouse PI we play as Jack Pepper, a personal investigator for hire that solves crimes and commits more along the way. I'm pretty sure that's a war crime. At the beginning of the game, we start solving one case, and then we realize that it's a part of some bigger scheme. The game is a pretty straightforward boomer shooter. You get locked in zones with enemies and can progress until you have killed them all. The only thing they forget is...
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me!
Along the way, you're also gonna try to find some secrets, and of course, the collectibles. I'll get back to those in a sec. Throughout the game, you'll also unlock some abilities like double jump or a tail hook. Just wish you unlocked an ability to pull some big... There are also a bunch of puzzles, doors, and safes to lockpick, and of course some boss fights. That pretty much summarizes the gameplay, but hey, more is less. I mean, less is more. You get it, more or less. I hate myself. Like, that's my biggest problem with the IGN review. They say you cannot just put a noir theme on a shooter. Like, yeah, you can. Look, they just did. Motherfucker talking about how it's thematically incoherent. That's a big word for an IGN reviewer. But, brother, it's not that deep. It's a video game. Like, the biggest thing for this game is style and design. That's what it was promoted for. That's why the game is so appealing. It's this cool 1930s cartoon rubber hose animation that makes the game so unique. But nevertheless, the Twitter is already getting horny. Like, it's a problem. I keep on downloading Twitter just to find stuff like this to put it in the video. But let's get back to the game, specifically to the animations. Like, look at the guns, look at the way they're moving. They're supposed to be hard, but they're flaccid. Just give it a second, he gets shy around other people. Alright, enough. But with all honesty, the game looks unreal. It looks so good. The game features over 50,000 hand-drawn frames for characters and guns. Like, I'm not an animator myself. The closest thing I've done to animation is moving my silly character on the screen and working in Source Filmmaker. And I realize how hard it must have been to draw all of that stuff. The game even kind of pokes fun at animators being slaves to the studios they work for.
Ah, yes, artists. Turning caffeine and panic attacks into someone else's success.
Let's just hope Fumi animators never get mixed up with the king of LARP baby no money. The other thing I mentioned the IGN critic was mad about was about all of the cheesy lines.
Something tells me there are cheese strings out there yet to be unraveled.
Like, he can say whatever he wants. I thought all of them were fucking hilarious. It's like every time I thought there was a limit to them bringing cheese into it, they just went over the top again and again. It's also the fact that our character constantly breaks the fourth wall, which is kind of ironic with what I'm wearing on my face. But the game also kind of pokes fun at the gamers that like to go to the places where they're not supposed to because they love exploring so much.
Shouldn't be here, damn it. Fucking gamers. Always squeezing in where the logic says back the F off. Just hold on a sec. Dobra, kurde, bym się nie chce po angielsku. Weź daj znać Matowi.
Kinda got flashbacks from that. Felt like I was back in a CS lobby. The only thing that was missing was an obnoxious Russian teenager screaming in his mic. Next, moving on to the character designs, and they are ridiculous. As in ridiculously good. We have our main character that is like a typical American after Prohibition that talks about not being able to do any of this shit because he's too sober for this. Honestly, that's so real. Subscribe if you have an alcohol problem. Anyway, character designs are really good. They do represent the people that were living in US during that time. You have your mobster Italian Americans, you have those voodoo Louisiana Creoles, you have your crazy German scientists, the typical working class mice that are being oppressed, but look, they're trying to turn them back to normal. I'm gonna get cancelled before I reach 10,000 subs. We got fucking Igor, who's a reference to some old Frankenstein movies.
That would be far, far too much for them to handle.
Them?
Them.
Which them?
Them.
It's actually they, them. Shut your stupid. There are also a bunch of other characters that we interact more with because they're our friends, but I'm not gonna spoil their whole personality because at the end of the video I'm gonna tell you to play the game yourself. Or will I? Stay to find out. The voice acting was really good as well. Troy Baker and everybody involved had a blast recording, and I had a blast listening to all of their lines and conversations.
They gassed us, John. Heavy clouds lingering over the trenches, and that sound. Oh, that sound like gas. Gas. Gas! So I know hard, John. I know hell, and I know horrible. But this! I cannot smell this, John. They ain't no coming back from this, John.
Now to the parts that kinda didn't sit right with me for the game. I played the game on both the hardest and the easiest difficulties, and the hardest one wasn't as hard and the easiest one is just a joke. And you know that's fine. For the people that are not that good at FPS games, that is actually a good thing. Because you know, if they're more interested in the lore than the shooting, that's completely fine. Or you could get aim labs and get fucking better. The main issue here is that you and some of the enemies are just literal bullet sponges. Like, some of the attacks do 1 damage to you, while you have 100 health and can have up to 100 armor. And then on the enemy side, you have enemies that die from 2 shots, and the other ones that don't die from 50. And you know, yeah, no, it makes sense. Some of the enemies are supposed to be more tanky than the others, but it just kind of felt like too much. The other issue I had is sometimes whenever I would get too close to kick an enemy, I would go through them. But I understand it's really hard to execute whenever you have 2D models in a 3D environment. Another thing is the gun progression in the game. Because like in most boomer shooters, you just start with one gun like a pistol and then you collect your arsenal throughout the game. And in Mouse PI, we get our first couple of guns pretty quick, and then we start upgrading them. While we're upgrading these ones, we get new ones, which is fine. But the last 2 guns we find on the last 3 levels, and they just don't feel that strong. It kind of feels like anticipating a present for your birthday and then realizing you got a flashlight, not a flashlight. The same thing kind of happens with the abilities we get for the game, because the last ability we get on the second to last level and used maybe like 5 times. And that felt like going through college to get your degree and after switching your profession to be a video editor. Could never be me. Next, let's talk about the atmosphere of the whole game. Just like the character design, the whole feel and theme of the game felt right. It's a whole black and white noir theme that kind of makes you feel like you're watching a cartoon from 1930s. I don't really know how that feels. We should probably ask like Nick Merckx or Tim the Tatman, because they're like 40, right? Alright, enough free clout for those streamers. Next thing they find out about this game and start making those loadout TikToks like they did in 2022. Next, I want to talk about the collectibles. There are newspapers, comic pages, figurines, baseball cards, and blueprints. There are also clues, but most of the clues are like the main objectives of the levels. Yeah, some of them are missable and mostly are needed for the achievement or the lore. Anyway, the blueprints you will need to upgrade your weapons, and there are way more blueprints in the game that are actually needed. The figurines are like mini-me collectibles, and after collecting each one, the character is just gonna drop some cheesy line. While the new papers are just lore collectibles, the comic pages actually complete into a full comic if you collect them all. Last but not least, there are baseball cards that you will collect from the game, and they're needed for the baseball card minigame. And as a Gwent nerd, I can tell you that if any video game has a card game within it, I'm gonna like it that much more. It's a pretty simple game too. You and opponent are gonna be either a pitcher or a batter. You will both select a card, and whose card has a bigger value basically wins. It's a bit more complicated than that, but I'm not really gonna get into it. And that's because I fucking hate baseball. But I will say this, each time you win a baseball game, you get a token, and if you collect 20 of those tokens, you will get— I'm not telling you, you gotta do it yourself. I spent like 3 hours on that baseball game. Also, there is a vendor in the game, and we can buy ammo from him and the collectibles that we missed in the previous levels. However, you cannot buy the figurines or the clues there. You gotta find those yourself. But be pretty careful because money is somewhat limited in this game, and the cards you're gonna have to buy from the vendor are already pretty expensive as it is. Oh yeah, and every time you play baseball, you will have to pay 50 in-game currency just to play the game, and you're not getting them back if you win, lose, or tie. Bro, 50 bucks for a card game of baseball? That's how much groceries cost for me for a month. Please like and subscribe so I don't have to finish my paper plate with my meal. There are also side quests in the game, and if you complete those, you will get blueprints, money, or baseball cards as a reward. I also 100% the game and got all of the achievements, and it took me 2 playthroughs, but but you realistically can do it all in one. The only other thing is that if you collect all the 10 figurines, you don't get an achievement, or to be honest, you don't really get anything. So is Mouse PI really worth $30? Yes, most definitely. For a price of an average CS skin, you get a full game. Yeah, there were a couple of things that I found weird, but overall it's a great game. The gameplay is solid, the visuals are unique, the music is unreal. Like while playing that stupid baseball game, I heard a song that was really familiar, and then I realized it was Caravan Palace. And if you don't know who they are, go look them up on YouTube. You definitely seen or heard one of their songs. On top of it all, the amount of references made throughout the game just made me so happy.
That could have been worse. Could have been off-brand, adolescent, genetically modified martial art reptiles.
Like, definitely some of them I missed because I don't know everything, but that IGN critic can go fuck himself because it was a great addition to the game. Like, this song is literally a reference to Cowboy Bebop. I just can't wait for somebody to make a video about all of the references in the game. Anyway, what are you waiting for? Go buy the game yourself and maybe you can make a video on the references. And we're out of time. Go comment what game I should play next. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
The journey goes on, straight through the night, hoping dawn remembers the show.